I was riveted,
Yes.
watched almost all of it yesterday
Yes.
when I could, and the speakers included Charlie Kirk's friends and family, as well as President Trump and his cabinet. They honored Kirk's legacy of activism and vowed to carry on in his absence.
Every one of us needs to be a warrior like Charlie, to take shelter in God, to draw strength and fearlessness from the Lord who sits within every one of our hearts, to stand together.
In just 31 years of life, he made a difference. He mattered, and he will matter now more than he ever has before.
Charlie Kirk, a warrior for country, a warrior for Christ. He ran the race. He finished the fight. Now it's our turn.
He transformed the face of conservatism in our own time, and in doing so, he changed the course of American history.
He's bigger now than ever before, and he's eternal. He's eternal. And I just want to say we love him.
After a series of speakers, the president welcomed Charlie's widow, Erika, on stage and comforted her after her remarks. Her speech was maybe the most powerful moment of the entire day. Here is what she said about the man charged with killing her husband.
My husband, Charlie, he wanted to save young men, just like the one who took his life. That young man. On the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do." That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Powerful stuff there. Matt Finn follows up the day after, Glendale, Arizona, and that is where we begin. Matt, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. The ceremony was first come, first served seating. So we saw people lining up as early as 2 o'clock in the morning yesterday, waiting 6 hours just for the doors to open at 8 a.m. And then they were aiming to get inside a State Farm Stadium behind me to secure their seating. And the event was compared to a mobile State of the Union because of the president, vice president, and a long list of cabinet members all being in the same room. And the president made a special announcement.
Soon award Charlie the nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's the highest civilian honor. And we will do the ceremony at our beautiful White House in a very safe Washington, D.C., a place that Charlie truly revered.
And Charlie's widow, Erika, giving that profound speech, forgiving her husband's alleged assassin. And Erika said Charlie's death ultimately served a greater purpose.
We didn't see violence. We didn't see rioting. We didn't see revolution. Instead, we saw what my husband always prayed he would see in this country. We saw revival.
Now, State Farm Stadium has hosted the Super Bowl. Yesterday, it was transformed into a Sunday church service to memorialize Charlie. And on the ground here, we talked to people coming from all over the country.
The energy was just so fulfilling, much more than just being at home on my couch. It was just, we were all in it together. We were all here for the same things.
I think I'll try to be more patriotic and stand up for what I believe in and not back down. And especially be more peaceful and not show any hate and just try to be a better person.
And Erika said her husband's death is not going to stop the dialogue and the debates on college campuses. Dana, Bill.
Thank you, Matt. Matt Finn in Glendale, Arizona. Thank you.
And now Guy Benson joins us, and I watched you yesterday as you had commentary along with Mary Catherine Ham and the excellent anchoring of Lawrence Jones and Kayleigh McEnany, and we'll see Kayleigh a little bit later in this show. Guy, one more sound bite from Erika Kirk on the other part of her message, which is that the mission of the Turning Point USA organization will continue.
I promise you today, every part of our work will become greater. I am tremendously honored to be the new CEO of Turning Point USA. Charlie and I were united in purpose. His passion was my passion, and now his mission is my mission. We will make 10 times greater through the power of his memory. Chapters will grow. Thousands of new ones will be created. And yes, campus events will continue. And we will continue to hold debates and dialogue.
Guy, now that you've had a few hours to process and maybe get a little bit of sleep, your thoughts this morning as we are all reflecting on that remarkable day.
Well, Dana, in the introduction, Bill described the forgiveness moment as perhaps the most powerful of the day. I would, of course, agree with that. I would go a step further. It was one of the most powerful things I've ever seen, ever, in any context. This woman had her husband and the father of her children ripped away from her in this indescribably violent, sudden, appalling way. And within days of that happening, she publicly forgave the person who did that, who's responsible for that. And we heard a lot yesterday about the teachings of Christ, which is wonderful and very appropriate and completely uplifting. I mean, think about the size of the audience that was exposed and in some cases perhaps introduced to that message. But there was one person who could really live out the teachings of Christ in a really, really tough one, a hard one in this context. And that was Erika Kirk. And she stepped up. She knew that she had to do it and follow that example. But I cannot imagine how hard that was. And I gasped. I was watching and I gasped. And my admiration for her, which was already high, went through the roof.
Yeah. There was an excellent interview that was done, I guess, 11 days after the assassination. And you can read it in the New York Times where Erika Kirk sat down and talked about how she was feeling, how she was doing. Here's just one excerpt. She says that I want the government regarding the death penalty to decide this. I do not want that man's blood on my ledger because when I get to heaven and Jesus is like a eye for an eye, is that how we do it? And that keeps me from being in heaven, from being from Charlie. Go ahead and offer what you like, Guy. What struck me about that interview is how forthcoming she was, concerned about his safety and his security. That was on her mind, and that was on the mind of many others who worked around Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, how could it not have been? And then to see what happened, I'm sure that's something that is haunting, at least on this earth for her, but she has her eyes fixed higher, clearly. And I'm just completely bowled over. I'm astonished. I'm in awe of her poise and her grace. And she had a lot of different directions she could have gone in that eulogy yesterday. She could have said virtually anything, and I think people would have really given her a lot of breathing room to figure it out and go through this really terrible thing. But she hit so many beautiful, important notes. She knew exactly what she was doing. She rose to this moment. And I think it was very clear for Turning Point and for people who care about the movement, for people who cared about Charlie. I knew Charlie, but I did not know her, do not know her. As she is a force of nature. That's the only way I can put it. And I'm still not quite over what I saw yesterday.
I agree, Guy. I was watching it thinking that it was one of the most remarkable speeches I've ever seen. And what I also loved is that she took her time, she wasn't rushed, and she never once raised her voice. And she also, she talked about, to the point about being worried about his safety. She said at one point, he had said something like, God use me. And she said, he'll take you up on it. And that you could have heard a pin drop in a stadium full of 95,000 people in a moment. So she held everyone's attention and was able to, I think, give all of us a moment to recenter, refocus, and to think about using her ability to be calm as our way forward. Sorry, gave a little speech, not a lot of question there, but let's give you the last word, and then of course we'll hear you on the radio later today.
Well, those of us who are members of the Christian faith and who believe in Jesus, we have probably said the words, "Thy will be done," countless times in our lives. I know I have in the Lord's Prayer. We've memorized it. It's sort of this rote sort of repetition of something that we learned as little kids. But it's not just something to memorize and say absentmindedly. It's actually a creed. It's very meaningful. Thy will be done. And she highlighted that. She emphasized that in her remarks. And she and her husband lived it. They lived it in a meaningful way. And she is trying to put that reality into her reality. And she blended those, I think, beautifully, almost preternaturally yesterday.
Well done. Guy, thanks for coming on today. Catch you a little later, and we'll see you later in the week, too. Guy Benson, thank you.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News Patriot today. Click join to find out how.